And I think we're live. Hello, world. It's Mr. Flixter, and I just love talking motion pictures. This is my first Q&A. This is kind of like a solo video. I don't really have a plan. I had two guests this week, but unfortunately, both of them had to reschedule for Sunday. So we're just going to kind of wing it. We're going to see what's going on here. Looks like we have some people in the chat. We got two people. That's pretty good. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. So, in case you didn't know, I work for horrorbuzz.com. Basically, we talk about everything and anything horror. So it's a lot of fun. I get to see movies that people don't usually get to see, like for the public. Oh, looks like we have a first question here from Michelle. Why do you love movies so much? That is a very good question. Thank you, Michelle. I find solace in movies. The reason why I like them so much is because I like getting lost in these different worlds, and I love storytelling. I just love a good story. I'm a sucker for a good story. And when I was growing up, we moved around a lot. So my siblings and I, we spent a lot of time having these movie days. And basically, the movies brought that joy to our life that we didn't have before. Well, that we kind of lost because going to one place to another place and starting in a new school, especially for like teenagers and stuff like that, it gets kind of hard. So my siblings were always there for each other, and we always had the movies as kind of like a bond for us. So I think that's why I love movies so much. And then I just love a good story. But thank you, Michelle. I appreciate the question. Oh, I got four people now. That's pretty cool. Thank you for viewing, guys. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to just do this live stream. We're just gonna kind of wing it. We're just gonna have a little bit of fun here. Some of my favorite movies. I like Scream. That's like one of my all-time favorite movies. Not just horror movie, but for movies too. I also like for like non-horror. I like Jurassic Park. I love the Star Wars movies. I could talk about Star Wars all day. I actually have a video where I rank the Star Wars movies with Josh from Josh Does Movies. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you check that out on my channel. I also love the MCU. The MCU is pretty good for what it's worth. It's not completely 100% comic book accurate, but you know, it's still a lot of fun. I still appreciate it for what it is. Um, Basically, some general information about me. I grew up all around the States. I was born in Vancouver, Canada. From there, we moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and then we lived in San Francisco, California for a bit. After that, we moved to Cincinnati, Ohio. Then we lived in Detroit, Michigan, and then we moved to the Niagara area. So I've been all over the place. I've seen all kinds of different sites. Oh, we have another question here from Michelle. What is your favorite Disney classic movie? Ooh, that's a good question. I was a 90s kid, so I'm a sucker for like the ones that came out in that decade. So some of my favorites are like Aladdin, the original. I like the original Lion King. The first movie I remember seeing in theaters actually is Aladdin. I can't remember seeing anything before that. So there's a little fun fact for you. That was the first movie I ever saw in theaters. I have to go with some of those classic ones, like Aladdin and The Lion King. Hercules is also pretty good. I like that one. If you want to go older, I like some of those ones. Like Aristocats was pretty good. Mary Poppins is a classic. That's sort of animated, but you didn't really specify. So I also like that Tall Tales movie. I don't know if you guys remember that one. It talked about different figures from like the Wild West. Like it was about Pecos Bill. It had a bunch of folklore in it from America. Like it was about Paul Bunyan and John Henry. That was a pretty good one. I enjoyed that one. Some other Disney movies that I like. That's a good question. There's so many good classic ones. There's like The Parent Trap. That one's really good. I also liked Tuck Everlasting. That one's It's kind of an underrated one. No one really talks about that one anymore. Ah, Michelle agrees. Tall Tales is cool. That's cool that you remember that one too. That's awesome. That's one of the classic ones. I also like 101 Dalmatians. Of course, there's the classic animation, like there's Cinderella, there's Snow White. I thought that pretty much goes without saying, but I'll just mention it just for kicks and gigs. Thank you for the question, Michelle. That's very nice of you. For like non-Disney movies, I do like DreamWorks. I like animation, in case you couldn't tell. For my favorite genres, I have to say horrors first, and then I'd say probably animation because I do like that. And then I do like musicals, so that'd be three. And then like comedies. I like so many different kinds of movies. Michelle agrees. Tuck Everlasting is amazing. I heard there's supposed to be a Broadway show for that, so that'd be pretty cool to see. I do like Broadway, but unfortunately, being able to see it gets hard sometimes, especially around these times. So we can still enjoy the movie, right? I love Disney Plus. They got so much stuff on there. It seems like they're adding stuff every day too. So that's like one of my go-tos for streaming services. If I had to pick my next favorite, I'd probably have to say Amazon Prime because they have Stack TV in Canada and they have Shudder. Shudder is so cool if you like horror movies. They got pretty much everything that you could ask for. We have four people now. That's cool. I wasn't even sure if anyone was going to show up because it's my first live stream and my channel is kind of small. So, whatever. We'll just roll with the punches, see how it goes. So, if anybody has any more questions. Oh, Michelle says Broadway is amazing. Les Miserables is cool. Yeah, I have to agree. That's one of my favorites too. The movie was okay. The 2012 version with Hugh Jackman and Amanda Seyfried. It also had Helena Bonham Carter. It had Sacha Baron Cohen. It had bad casting, but it had Russell Crowe as Javert. It's too bad too because he ruined one of my favorite songs in that movie. I love the song "Stars." That's one of my favorite Les Mis songs, besides like "At the End of the Day." But that's more of an ensemble song. This is the solo song, and Russell Crowe just ruined it, in my opinion. I don't even know why he was cast. He can't sing, in my opinion. And even some of the songs, like it's out of order. If you notice that. Um, I'm having technical difficulties. I'll be back in 1 second. Okay, hold on 1 second. All right, sorry about that, people. Thank you for sticking around. Yeah, Michelle says she noticed that too, but she was in Les Mis. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Michelle's actually a friend of mine. We met in high school, and she's always been big into theater and stuff like that. So she's always been kind of like my theater buddy. But yeah, the movie was okay. Um, some of the casting was off. The story was out of order. I didn't really like Anne Hathaway as Fontaine, or Fontaine or whatever. But yeah, and Les Mis is pretty good. I think my favorite Broadway musical would have to be Sweeney Todd, definitely. I love Stephen Sondheim, and the movie is amazing with Johnny Depp, also with Helena Bonham Carter, and it was directed by Tim Burton. It's a really good rendition. Yeah, it cut some of the songs, but a lot of stuff doesn't really translate well when you put it on screen. Like there's a difference between doing something on stage and then doing something on screen. It doesn't always work out that way. They had that problem with Les Mis too. I noticed too. They had to stage things differently because it would work better that way on screen. Looks like Michelle agrees. Thank you very much. So if anybody else has any questions, don't be shy. Sure, there's only 3 of you, but I still appreciate that people are asking questions. You guys are awesome. I wouldn't have a channel without the fans and the subscribers. I wasn't even sure people were going to show up today, so this is kind of experimental. We'll see how long this video lasts for, depending on how it goes. As far as musicals go, there's some other good ones. I didn't really like Cats. Cats was kind of weird. I don't know why they didn't just do the costumes like how they do on the stage. The show was amazing. I don't know if you guys have seen the show, but yeah, Cats was a really good one. Another one that was pretty good. Uh, you want to talk about Sondheim? I can go on for Sondheim for hours. Let's see. Michelle said exactly. You're amazing. Just know that. Oh, thank you, Michelle. That's really sweet of you to say. I appreciate the love and support. I really like Into the Woods. That's another Stephen Sondheim one. That's a little more recent. I think that came out in like 2014, 2015, something like that. But that's pretty good. Again, they took some of the songs out, and some of the stuff is out of order for as far as the story goes. But the casting in that is really amazing. I liked Anna Kendrick as Cinderella. James Corden was really good as the baker. Meryl Streep, of course, was the witch. She was really good too. I liked her performance because that was a really hard part. And Bernadette Peters are big shoes to fill. Oh, Michelle, you haven't seen Into the Woods yet? It's on Disney Plus if you're interested. Were you talking about that or Sweeney Todd? Because I'm not sure if Sweeney Todd is streaming. I have that on DVD. I'm all about having the copies. I have a ridiculous amount of DVDs, so I think it's funny people complain when they can't find something on streaming. I don't really have that problem, you know what I mean? If I can't find it, I'll just put my DVD in or my Blu-ray. So does anyone else have any questions? Oh yeah, okay. You haven't seen Into the Woods. Ooh, I really recommend it. It's really good. It even has the kid that was in Les Mis that played Gavroche. He plays Jack, like Jack in the Beanstalk. And he's really good in the role too. Oh, Michelle also has like 500 DVDs. It's like we live in a video store. So aside from musicals, I also like a good comedy. I like a lot of the older like Adam Sandler movies. I like some of the older Jim Carrey movies. Like those two would be my go-tos, like stuff I would watch the most often. Mike Myers is good too. I love Austin Powers. Not so much Cat in the Hat, but I love Austin Powers. There's 3 of those ones, and they're all pretty good. Um, a lot of these new comedies, like they're not the same. Like they don't really write them the same. They don't have the same like feel. Michelle says, "Heck yeah! I don't want to chase down my favorite movie." Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's a pain when you have to try to look to see what stuff is streaming all the time. A lot of times I don't even bother to find it streaming. I'm just like, yeah, screw it. I'm just gonna watch it because I have it on DVD. I can just put it in, right? That's kind of the beauty of it. And I like the idea of having like that copy of it, like a hard copy, because you never know on their end. Like streaming services go down, right? So there could be a day when, or the internet could go down for a day. So then what are you gonna watch, right? I don't even have cable. Like I totally cut that out too because I just stream stuff all the time. It's pretty handy. I like Netflix. I like Disney Plus. I like Amazon Prime. Crave's pretty good too. Shutter. I already talked about Shutter. Shutter is amazing. Let's see what else. I like some of the classic movies. If you want to go back, some stuff that isn't necessarily streaming. Although Tubi is a good streaming service too. If you guys haven't heard of it, it's got totally free, and it's got movies from like the 60s and the 70s, and even stuff from the 50s. A lot of stuff that you wouldn't normally find on streaming services. Like it's got some of the old Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. It's got Psycho. It's got some of the older ones like Casablanca and like Gone with the Wind, stuff like that. Michelle says exactly. So find what works. Yeah, exactly. A lot of times the streaming services don't really work, or you go to watch it, but there's some kind of sort of a technical error, so you can't watch what you wanted to watch, or it's just sometimes stuff isn't available at all. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to ask. I'm pretty shameless, so I'm not shy when it comes to that kind of stuff. As far as like action movies go, I like Jurassic Park. I like the Die Hard movies. I like all kinds of movies. The Rush Hour movies are really good. One of my all-time favorites. It's more of a comedy, but it's called The Other Guys. It's got Will Ferrell and it's got Mark Wahlberg in it. My cat wants attention. Sorry, she always wants attention when I'm trying to do a live stream. Everyone say hello to Elsa. She's my baby. She's 7 and she's shedding. Michelle says that the Tower Inferno is good too, and the greatest show on earth is a classic film. I have to agree; those are both amazing. Yeah. My friend can't put stuff in the chat for some reason, but she asked me how I feel about Tales from the Crypt Demon Knights. That is such a good movie. Oh my God. It's got good for like practical effects, and it's good with the storytelling. It's got a good cast in it. I love Billy Zane as the villain in that film. You could tell he's having a lot of fun in that role. Like he does really good in that villain type of role. I love how the Crypt Keeper sets everything up too, because it starts off like just another episode, right? But then it switches on you and it does like a fake out, and then it turns into the movie. And when it gets going, it gets going. It's such a good story. Oh, oh yes, I love Demon Knights. I recommend it. That's actually one of my annual Halloween watches. I have a short little list of movies that I watch every Halloween, and that's definitely one of them. That's one of those ones I just kind of grew up with because I watched Tales from the Crypt when I was a kid. So when that one came out, it was a big deal. Same with like Bordello of Blood. That was another Tales from the Crypt film, but that one wasn't as good. That was the vampires in like the brothel. Not as good. This one's much better. It's about this guy, and he has this mysterious, almost like a flask sort of, and he's in this old like hotel in the middle of nowhere in the desert. And then Billy Zane wants it too. And then I don't want to say too much in case you haven't seen it because it's so good. There's a lot of like twists and turns, and it's just such a compelling story because it doesn't go the way that you think it would go. It's also got Jada Pinkett Smith. I think it was one of her first roles, but don't quote me on that because I'm not too sure about that one. Crypt Demon Night. That Love Tales from the Crypt Demon Night. That was a really good movie. I recommend that one if you guys haven't seen it before. Not sure if it's streaming, but that's just another one that I own on DVD. So, so if anybody else has any questions, we have 5 people now. Thank you, everybody. Ooh, Michelle says the Poseidon Adventure is a great flick too. Yeah, I think you mean the original, right? With Gene Hackman. That one was so good. That's one of those ones I'm not really sure why they remade it because it's just so good the way that it is. Snarf Dog says, I haven't seen most of these. That's all right, Snarf Dog. This is just a learning experience, right? That's why you watch YouTube, so you can learn more about movies. That's why I watch it a lot. I watch a ridiculous amount of YouTube, actually. Sometimes it's for research because I want to differentiate myself from other YouTubers. That's why I created the popcorn system. My sister actually helped me out with that because we went to see Scream 5 together. And she said she thought it was okay, but she was glad she only bought a small popcorn because she didn't think it was worth the price of a large. And then a light bulb went off. I'm like, oh my God, that's perfect. Like, I can totally use that for my rating system. And she was all for it. She's like, yeah, yeah, go for it. So don't worry about it, Snarf Dog. It just gives you more stuff to watch in the future, right? What are some of your favorite movies, Snarf Dog? I like your name, by the way. But back to the Poseidon Adventure. If you're not familiar, it's about a ship that actually capsizes completely and it goes completely upside down. So the people have to try and get off it. It's a pretty good disaster flick. I love the way older movies were filmed as far as like the effects would go because a lot of this was before CGI. So all this stuff just had to be done with stuntmen and stuff like that. So I really appreciate good stunt work. It's too bad that stunts don't have like an Oscar category because these people literally risk their lives to make movies every day. So I just thought that was always a shame. Michelle says it has a wonderful cast too. Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Snapdog likes mostly comedies. Okay. I mentioned before, so in case you missed that, I like the older Jim Carrey movies from the 90s. So Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, some of the classic ones like that. Even The Cable Guy's pretty good. That one's not as highly looked upon as far as like the general consensus goes, but I enjoy that one for what it is. I thought that was pretty good. I also like the older Adam Sandler movies, like Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore. I remember seeing those at the drive-in when I was a kid, back when that was a thing. So those are a lot of fun. Then of course there's Mike Myers. I like the Austin Powers movies. Those are so much fun. I could watch those countless times. I'm the kind of person that watches movies on repeat. So I'll see the same movie like over a dozen times within like the span of a week, sort of thing. So Oh, yeah, my friend Sabrina's having problems in the chat, so she's just texting me directly. That's fine. I don't mind. She's asking me about Creepshow. That is a really good anthology film. In case you're not familiar, an anthology film is a film that has several different short stories, and usually they connect toward the end. Some other anthology films are like Trick or Treat. That one's a little bit more recent. I saw one this year, actually. It's an independent film. It's called Underneath. And that was a really good anthology film, too. There's also The ABCs of Death. There's VHS. There's all kinds of different ones. Southbound. That was another one that I was trying to think of. But yeah, Creepshow. That's like the original anthology film. Like, I don't know if it was like the first one, because I know there's Twilight Zone and stuff like that. And even Tales of the Crypt, but that came out later on in the 90s. But no, no, no. Creepshow was amazing. It's just one of those old school feel good movies. For me, I look at horror movies as comfort movies. So even though that might sound strange to people who don't like horror, yeah, I do find horror movies to be comfort movies too. I'll put on stuff like Scream just to like fall asleep. Or Saw. I love the Saw movies. But going back to comedies, I like a lot of the older comedies too. They don't really make movies like that anymore. Ben Grimm says he likes Creepshow too, more than one. That's probably a hot take. I'm not sure if too many people would agree with that, but you do you, Ben. I appreciate your opinion. Just because we don't agree doesn't mean we can't still get along, right? But yeah, Creepshow 2 is okay. Seems like it was just trying too hard, in my opinion, to recapture that light in the bottle that I had the first time, because not much can compare to that first Creepshow. But you could say that with a lot of different movies. Like nothing really compares to the original. Even like Scream, like if you look at the other ones, they're good, but just not as good as the original. You know what I mean? Same with like the Saw movies or a lot of movies that like that too. Michelle says the new Poseidon movie isn't too bad. It has Josh Lucas. Yeah, yeah. I just thought it relied too much on CGI, and I thought the casting was off. I didn't like the cast so much in that one. And I feel like if you're gonna remake a movie, then try to add your own spin to it. You know what I mean? Like you update it, do whatever you can. Don't just remake the same movie. Try and a new approach, so to speak. Like trim the fat out, add some more character development. You can make the action scenes more epic if you want to. Just don't be over reliant on CGI because then you get that green screen effect, and that could take you right out of the experience. That's my problem with a lot of modern movies. A lot of them rely too much on like green screens and special effects. And if I wanted to watch an animated movie, I just watch an animated movie. You know what I mean? I think that's why I didn't really like the Chippendales Rescue Rangers movie because it wasn't really a Chippendales Rescue Rangers movie. It was weird, but if you haven't seen it, I don't want to say too much. Oh, my friend Sabrina says Grown Ups is a really good comedy. Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies for the more recent stuff. I love the story and how they approached it, and it's great to see all the people come together like that. It had David Spade, it had Kevin James, it had Rob Schneider in it, it had Chris Rock, it even had Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi pops up in a lot of Adam Sandler movies, even since the beginning. I don't know if you remember, but in Billy Madison, he was the guy that Adam Sandler called, and then he ends up shooting the guy and saves Billy in the end. And Billy Madison's like, "I'm glad I called that guy." But yeah, Steve Buscemi is hilarious, and I really like Grown Ups. That's one of those ones. Okay, there was a point in time where I didn't have cable TV, and that it was before streaming services were really a thing. So there was a point in time where all I had was like a small stack of DVDs and a DVD player, and that was my entertainment. And the other guys was on there, but Grown Ups was one of those DVDs too. So I've seen that movie so many times. I could probably just recite it because I know the dialogue so well. It's up there. Yeah, I love Grown Ups. The second one wasn't as good. The second one doesn't really have a story. Like it's got David Spade's kid, but they're just kind of going around the town and they're not really doing much. I'm not even sure how it's a movie or why it got made. Well, obviously it got made for money, but I'm not really sure why they did it like that. Like as soon as I saw the opening scene with the deer, I was like, "Oh, is this what it's gonna be like?" And then sure enough, yeah, that was very disappointing. I didn't like the sequel. Let's see. Michelle says, "How armed and dangerous with John Candy?" That's a really good one too. I love John Candy. Being Canadian, I was pretty much raised on John Candy and like Rick Moranis and the other guy. Oh, I can't think of his name right now. It was on Grace Under Fire. They do that. They do a lot of comedy sketches together. Dave Tom Thompson Thomas Dave Thompson. I think something like that. But anyways, back to John Candy. Yeah, yeah. Armed and Dangerous is really good too. I'd recommend that for people that like the older comedies. 'Cause the thing about older comedies is they actually rely on the writing more. It's not just about like swearing. It's not just about like sex jokes or anything like that. It's about actual comedy. You know what I mean? Like there's comedic timing. There's things that you can say that are just hilarious. And John Candy, he's got to be one of Dave Thomas. Thank you, Snarf Dog. Dave Thomas, thank you very much. I was drawing a blank there. I'm pretty bad with names. Uncle Buck is amazing too. Yeah, yeah. I have to agree with that one. And even though it's not like a direct John Candy movie, I do like his appearance in Home Alone. I thought that was good. And I love Spaceballs. Spaceballs is hilarious. And John Candy is really good in that one too. He's a Mog. He's his own best friend. How can you not love that? So we have 5 people watching. That's pretty cool. I wasn't really expecting anybody to come. This is my first time doing like a solo live stream. No guests, no script. We're just kind of hanging out here. So if anyone else has any more questions, feel free to ask me anything. I'm pretty shameless, so I'll answer pretty much anything. As long as it's not like too personal or private. But it's all good. We can still have fun here. For John Candy movies, John John Candy is just one of those like classic Canadian actors. Like you didn't know that he is Canadian, and yeah, he's got to be one of my favorites. We covered a lot of the good ones. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is another one that I wanted to mention with Steve Martin. Hilarious. That's another good example of classic writing. Oh, Sabrina says she likes Chris Farley. Yeah, Chris Farley's really good too. One of my favorites with him would have to be Tommy Boy for sure. Definitely Tommy Boy. Black Sheep is also pretty good. I don't know if you guys have seen that one. That one's kind of like Tommy Boy, but it's different characters, different plot. He's like the son of a politician or something like that. Michelle says Stripes is really great too. Yeah, I love Bill Murray. Bill Murray is one of those classic comedic actors, and then you team him up with Harold Ramis, and you have comedic gold right there. Because this was even before Ghostbusters came out. Like this came out, I want to say mid to late 70s, maybe even early 80s. I want to say, but Ghostbusters was like 85, 86, I think, something like that. So yeah, this was the first time I actually saw them together, and it was the first time I actually saw like an R-rated comedy. Like that's one of the first R-rated comedies I remember seeing when I was a kid. This is before like Caddyshack too. So Caddyshack is another great one, by the way, with Bill Murray. That one's got Chevy Chase too. Marcel says Splash is really good. I'm actually not too much of a fan of Splash. Like I got nothing against Tom Hanks, and I think is it Daryl Hannah that plays the mermaid in that one? Am I getting that right? I might have the actress mistaken there. But yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of Splash. It just never really resonated with me. My sister liked it. She was a big fan of that one. I do like Tom Hanks though. I like Big. Big is one of my personal favorites. Michelle says, yeah, it was Daryl Hannah. Okay, cool. Thank you. I'm pretty bad when it comes to names. Does anybody else have any questions? Going back to like Bill Murray, there's a lot of, oh, yes, thank you very much, Michelle. She says you're welcome. But yeah, going back to Bill Murray, Caddyshack is hilarious. I was really disappointed when he wasn't in the second one because Dan Aykroyd just wasn't as good. Yeah, Michelle agrees. Big was cool. I like a lot of the older Tom Hanks movies. I even like the original Turner and Hooch. I even liked some of like the stuff from the 2000s. Like You've Got Mail. It's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine with Meg Ryan. Yeah, Tom Hanks is really good. I don't really have a lot of complaints against him. Like Forrest Gump, of course, that's a classic. Not really a comedy, but it's got funny parts in it. Lieutenant Dan. Life's like a box of chocolates. Yeah, Tom Hanks is awesome. I was really happy when he got paired up with Tim Allen for Toy Story when that first came out because I liked Tim Allen from before too. So the two of them are really good. It's too bad the two of the guys never made any other movies besides those ones because that would have been a good pairing together. And Big's just one of those classic ones. Like you see other movies try to copy it, like there's 13 going on 30. There's that 17 again movie. I think that had Matthew Perry in it, but it's just not the same like quality. The humor is different. It doesn't have as much heart, in my opinion. It's just goes back to what I said. You can't beat the original. Ooh, excuse me. Yeah. So, does anybody else have any questions? I really appreciate that. There's 4 people that came to watch. That's pretty cool. You guys didn't have to do that, and I really appreciate that. So, feel free to ask me anything. As far as like action movies go, I like a lot of the older like Schwarzenegger movies. I like a lot of the old Stallone stuff. And then Bruce Willis, of course. Bruce Willis is probably one of my favorites. It's too bad he's not doing acting anymore. I don't know if you guys heard, but he's got some sort of problem, like it's a brain disease. So he has problems with his memory now. So we can't memorize lines, right? So we're pretty much done for acting. That came out a few months ago. So if you guys don't know that, if you guys weren't aware of that, that's why Bruce Willis isn't going to be in any more movies. And that's why you don't really see him now. So, but we still have the stuff that he's been in, like Red. Have you guys seen Red? That one is amazing. That's actually based off a graphic novel. And then there's The Fifth Element. That's one of my all-time. That's one of my go-tos, actually. That's one of my go-tos. I love that one. I've seen that one so many times. It's just one of those good classic science fiction movies. Michelle agrees. Bruce Willis is pretty awesome. I even like his more dramatic stuff, like the Sixth Sense. I thought he was amazing in that. Like it doesn't like he's the one of those people that can actually act along with doing the stunt work and stuff like that. So it means a lot more, I think. Like even 12 Monkeys was really good. I don't know if you remember that one. But yeah, big Bruce Willis fan. I have a live stream coming up actually on Sunday. We're going to be talking about Johnny Depp films. I'm going to be with Movies and Munchies. So I'm looking forward to that. And then that night at 8 p.m., I'm going to be doing a show with Popping the Popcorn. And we're going to talk about our favorite horror comedies. So there's something to look forward to. Michelle says, "Happy trails, mother trucker." Ben Grimm says, "Hudson Hawk was great." I'm not familiar with that. I don't think I've seen that one. I think you actually stumped me. Wow. That doesn't happen very often. What's that one about? Hudson Hawk. I'm curious now. Thank you for your comment, Ben. I almost combined your first and your last name there. Okay. It's an actor. He was known as a comedic actor before Die Hard. Didn't think he could do an action flick. Now he's known for his action films. Oh, Hudson Hawk. Okay. Cool. And then Michelle says Hudson Hawk is a good movie. I have to look into that. I haven't actually seen that one. Ooh, interesting. I love that. That's part of the beauty with the doing the YouTube videos, right? Getting to learn things that you didn't know. Like I did a video with Gory B Movie. We talked about creature features, and she had mentioned a lot of them that I hadn't seen before. So I'm trying to work slowly into that. I have a list now of creature features that I need to watch. And before that, I did a video with Gory like a week and a half ago, with Gory B Movie, and we talked about slasher flicks, some of our favorite hidden gems, ones that are lesser known that people might not have heard of before. So if you're interested in that, that's on her channel. And then the creature feature one is on my channel if you wanted to watch that. Gory B Movie. She's great. She's got an awesome channel. She covers a lot of horror content. Ben Grimm says, Hudson Hawk, he plays a thief. A thief who has to steal a big jewel. Ooh, I love a good heist movie. Yeah. They don't really make too many good heist movies anymore. I like Ocean's 11. That was a really good one. Both the remake and the original one. A lot of people don't know that that was a remake, but it was. I wasn't really a fan of Ocean's 8, but 12 and 13 were pretty good. There was a movie with it had Robert De Niro. It had who else it had? It had Edward Norton. I think it was just called Heist, I think. But yeah, that's a really good one too. They're in Quebec and they're trying to steal from the American embassy. Yeah, I love that movie. That was really good. There's another movie with Gene Hackman that's really good too. Actually, I think that one's called Heist. I can't think of what the other one's called. I'm drawing a blank on that one right now. But there's a Gene Hackman movie. It's called Heist, and it's got Danny DeVito in it too, and it's got Sam Rockwell, and it's all about a diamond heist, I think, or something like that. No, gold. That's right. They wanted to get gold. It's about trying to get like they rob a plane and they take all the gold bars out of the plane. I can see it in my head now. That's a really good one. Michelle says I would like Hudson Hawk. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. I do like a good heist movie. I even like how some movies send up heist movies, like Toy Story 3. No, not Toy Story 3. But yeah, there's a lot of movies that try to send that up too, and there's like good parodies of it. That's more of a Prison Break movie, actually, Toy Story 3. But like the Ant-Man movies, the first one at least, that was a pretty good heist movie. That was a different way of doing a heist movie too, because you include the superheroes in that, right? But yeah, I love heist movies. It's too bad they don't make those heist movies the way that they used to. Excuse me. So does anybody else have any questions here? I really appreciate any comments or questions that you have. I wasn't even sure if people were going to show up. I didn't really do like a big announcement. I put it in a few social media. I think I forgot to share it with some people, like some friends, but whatever. You can always watch the replay. We're just kind of hanging out. We're just having a good time. I don't have a plan. I don't have a topic. I'm just kind of making it up as I go. Just as I know what you're talking about, Sam Rockwell. I just can't remember the name of it. I think it's called Heist. I think it's just called Heist. Because there's the gold bars and they're on the plane and they make like the slide kind of. I don't want to say too much, but that's basically what the plan was. And they have to take it and they have to hide it, and then it becomes, well, who deserves to get it? Like who did the more work? And then it's all about how do you split it up? Because it was supposed to be a simple plan, right? And then it gets complicated with greed. It's such a good film. My little Elsa is back. Hello, Elsa. Her full name is Elsa Kyle Clara, after the Frozen character. And if you look at her face, it looks like she's kind of wearing a mask. So that's where the Kyle comes from. It's actually Selena Kyle, like Catwoman. And then Clara, she's one of my favorite companions from Doctor Who. And Elsa's always been my little companion. So that's where her name comes from. Elsa Kyle Clara. Michelle says, your cats are adorable. Oh, thank you, Michelle. I appreciate your kind words. They're not so adorable when they're in heat, though. I don't have them spayed, eh? Yes, I love my cats. She's still at my feet. Yeah, here you go. She's my little movie buddy too. Like she'll sit on my lap and she'll watch movies with me. It's funny though, for some of the animated movies, she'll like run and she'll smack her face into the screen. Where is the other kitty? I think she's on my bed, Michelle. She's sleeping. It's her bed after all, not my bed. So we're going on about 40 minutes here. Does anybody else have any questions? I think maybe we can wrap it up then. This is fun. I do appreciate the small crowd. I didn't expect a lot of people. My channel's still pretty new. I only started back in January. Actually, funny story. The reason I started the channel is because I was trying to get onto the Horror Live channel because I got hired on to Horror in August of last year. And then I kept bugging them ever since I got hired for the website. I'm like, let me be on your channel. Let me be on the channel. But they kept saying, well, we'll see how it goes. And then like 6 months later, I was talking about it so much with my friends and family, I guess, they finally got to the point where they're like, if you want to be on YouTube so badly, why not just make your own channel? And then a light bulb went off. I'm like, oh my God, you're right. And then that way I can stop bugging them instead of asking, and I can just show them what I can do. And then I think it works because now I'm pretty much a series regular on Horror Buzz Live. So I love doing YouTube. I wouldn't give it up for the world. Let's see what Snarf says. What are some of your favorite bad movies? That's a good question. One of my all-time favorites, so bad it's good movies, has to be the Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's another one of my like Halloween like go-tos. Like it's on my list. I have a Halloween list, and that's definitely one of them. Other bad movies that I liked. There's Slither. That one's pretty gross though. You have to have a strong stomach for that one. I like a lot of the cheesy like 80s movies, like the cheesy 80s slashers. There's a lot of those on Shudder. There's like The Mutilator, there's Stage Fright, there's creature features like Boar. Oh, there's one called The Shed. It's about this person who keeps something inside their shed and people will keep getting fed to it, but you don't find out what it is till the end. And I don't want to say it because if you haven't seen it, it's worth the payoff there. That's on Shudder. I watch a lot of cheesy horror movies, like Ice Cream Man. That one's really good. That's from the 90s. Let's see, what else? I was the kind of kid that would spend hours in the video store just looking at the different covers and seeing the different artwork, and then I would just make my decision based on that. There's so many good ones out there. So there's a few of them for you. Oh, another one more recently that came out was Willy's Wonderland. That's one that's so bad it's good. It's got Nicolas Cage in it. He plays like a janitor for like this Chuck E. Cheese type place. But the thing is, the animatronics there have been possessed by like the satanic cult. So they're killing all the people inside, and he's got to like survive the night. He's like trapped inside. It's hilarious. It's just one of those ones that you have to laugh at it, kind of thing. Like same with Stitches. Stitches is another good one. It's just so over the top. It's so funny. Like you just have to laugh at it, and it's a good time watching it too. Like that, those are the best movies. Like that is they're good movies to watch with a big group of friends, so you could all just kind of like enjoy it together. I even like the Sharknado movies. Like those are the other ones. There's so many of those. There's another one. You might not. Well, it's not as like known. It's called Lava Lantula. I like those cheesy like creature features. Michelle says that would be creepy. Yeah, yeah. But I love creepy. I don't know if you've seen the back of my shirt. Hold on. You see it? It says scare me. I like it. Yeah. So there's just a few of those bad movies. Does anybody else have any questions? We're going on about 45 minutes now, so if there's no more questions or anything, we can just wrap things up. But if you guys want to keep going, then by all means, go for it. I don't mind. I'm pretty free tonight. Whatever you guys want. Like I said, we're just kind of going with the flow, seeing how things are. And thank you for your questions, Snarf Dog. I appreciate it. Is it your first time watching this channel? I don't recognize the name. I haven't seen that before. I do appreciate that you're taking time to watch me. You could be watching anything right now. You could be watching Netflix. You could be watching Disney Plus. You could be watching Amazon Prime. But you guys decided to watch little old me, and I appreciate that. Ah, he's watched the Gory stream. Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, I met Gory a few months ago, and we planned on doing stuff back in like April. But schedules kind of got complicated, and then eventually we ended up working up later on. So yeah, we're slowly becoming friends over time, and that's kind of cool. I like how I've been reaching out to the different YouTubers, and not everyone reciprocates back or replies back right away. So she's one of the ones that replied back. I'm getting to know her pretty well. There's Movies and Munchies. He's pretty good. You guys should watch his channel if you haven't seen it. He talks about a lot of different Netflix movies. That's kind of his specialty. So if you're into Netflix, that channel's for you, definitely. There's Josh does movies. He's reached out to me too. Well, I reached out to him and he reached back. So we've done a couple videos together. He does a lot of different kinds of movies. He likes seeing all kinds of movies, animation, drama, horror, you name it. He'll watch anything. So he's pretty good for that. And then of course Gory, she's good for horror. Like if you like all kinds of horror, anything and everything. And then her husband's got a good channel too, Danny Nightmare. So those are some more that I recommend. And thank you for watching the Gory stream. I've done 2 live streams with her now, so we plan on doing more stuff in the future. What we've been talking about doing next is like a Chucky chat, because we both love the Chucky movies. And then there's also a Chucky TV show. Season 2 is coming out in October, and I'm really excited for that. So yay, more Chucky. I actually got to meet Brad Dourif and Alex Vincent when I was at Niagara Falls Comic Con. Hold on. And I got Alex Vincent to sign my Blu-ray cover. So that was pretty cool. And it's funny, I kept bumping into him after I got to meet him officially the first time. So those times where we would just kind of like chat. We wouldn't even talk about movies or anything like that. We would just just 2 people talking. A lot of people forget that celebrities are people too. Like they don't like to talk about movies all the time. And they do appreciate the fandom, but there's more to their lives than movies. Shell says, I'm so glad that you have buddies to watch horror with, because when I'm out when it comes to that. Yeah, I can never get her to watch horror movies. But I do have friends that said that they've never watched it before or were never really fans, but they're willing to be open-minded and they're opening the door to horror. So I'm trying to introduce them to that. So it's pretty exciting. So if you're interested, Michelle, I still want to watch horror movies with you. Even if you watch like more family-friendly stuff, I even consider like Nightmare Before Christmas, or like the Hotel Transylvania movies, even like the Addams Family movies. Those are more like family-friendly horror, in my opinion. But not the new Addams Family. I didn't like those movies. They're not very good. I'm talking about the classic like 90s ones with it's got Christina Ricci in it. Oh, she's Wednesday. She'll always be my Wednesday. Does anybody else have any questions? It's pretty cool. I didn't think it would go for this long. I thought we'd go for maybe a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, kind of see how it goes. But by all means, if you guys want to keep asking me questions, you guys have topics of conversation, then yeah, go for it. Michelle goes, we'll see, bud. Maybe I'll watch them in the daytime. But the best time to watch horror movies are at night, in the dark. If you want to get the full experience, and that's what I tell everybody. It doesn't have to be middle of the night per se, but horror movies in the dark are the best. I'm all about like setting the mood for the movie. You got to have your popcorn, you got to have your drink, you got to have your snacks, and you got to be in the dark. Best way to watch a film. Even here, I'll turn all the lights off. I'll put it on my big TV. You kind of see my TV in the background there. Does anybody else have any questions? The last movie I saw in theaters was actually Top Gun. I saw that one again because I liked it so much, and my friend hadn't seen it before. So I wanted to make sure she saw it while she still could in theaters, because that's one of those movies you need to experience in theaters. If you haven't seen Top Gun Maverick, I really recommend it. It's awesome. It's got a lot of callbacks to the original. It's got some of the same cast came back from the original. That's pretty good. It's got a really good story. I like the new recruits, and I like the mission. The mission's kind of like Star Wars, but it's more grounded in reality. It's intense, and it's got some of the most insane action scenes that I've seen in a movie in a long time. And it's cool because it's all done with practical effects too. Like there's no CGI planes or anything like that. These people actually took the time, the actors, to learn how to fly those planes just so they could shoot the movie. Like, how amazing is that? That's so cool, in my opinion, when they go that extra mile instead of just doing that green screen thing that I was talking about. That's the problem with these new like Star Wars movies. They rely too much on green screens. My friend Sabrina says it was a great movie. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that she saw it. She's the friend I was referring to before. She loved it. Michelle asked, "Do I like urban legends?" I like the first two. The first two were pretty good. I didn't like the third one because the third one doesn't really have anything to do with the other ones. It's more about like Bloody Mary. That's actually kind of strange. But yeah, the first two are really good. I like that one. I actually think I like the second one more. It's called Final Cut. They're in a film school, and then they're trying to figure out who is killing these kids working on this film. And when you find out who it is at the end, it's a really good who done it. I think it's actually better than the original. So yeah, Urban Legend's a good one too. That's one of those ones that I like to say Scream kind of spawned, because after that one came out, there was a lot of movies that were similar to Scream. Like there was I Know What You Did Last Summer, and a lot of other movies that were like urban legends too that came out. So you could thank Scream for those, but nothing beats the original. Not even Scream could top Scream. Excuse me. Not even Scream could top Scream. Michelle goes, "I'll watch the first one with you because I know when to turn my head." So you're like my sister. She's funny. She always turns her head when it comes to like the gory parts. So sometimes I bug her. I'll mess with her. I'll be like, "Oh, it's done," but it's not over yet. And then she sees it and she's like, "Oh." I like to mess with people. I like scaring people too. It's fun, especially when there's like a really creepy part and it's quiet. And all of a sudden I'll come out of nowhere, raw, scare people while they try to watch their movie. Does anybody else have any questions? I really appreciate that. This is so cool. This is going a lot better than I thought it would. I really thought I'd be sitting here for like 15 minutes with no viewers. I'd be like, okay, forget this. And then I just have to turn it off. But this is amazing. We're going on almost an hour now. Michelle goes, "No, that's just mean, Christopher." What can I say? I'm a bad boy. Some other favorite horror movies I like. I'm a sucker for like the 90s stuff. The 90s was just such a big influence on me. I'm such a 90s kid. Like, so basically anything that came out, like even like The Faculty, that was not talked about so much. That one's really good. Some sequels came out to other movies like Candyman. Candyman actually came out in the 90s. That was like 91, 92, I think. A lot of Halloween sequels came out in the 90s that I like. I loved Halloween H2O. I didn't so much like the Thorn trilogy. Michelle asks, "What is your favorite Scream?" My favorite Scream has to be the original. Yes, definitely. From the opening scene all the way up until that big finale where you find out who the killer is. Because I don't want to say too much in case you haven't seen it, but it's really kind of mind blowing the first time you see it because you don't expect it to be the people that it is. Like there's certain suspects, but when they find out the first killer in that first one, it's like truly mind blowing. Like I haven't seen an ending like that in a long time. The other ones are good. I'm not complaining. I wasn't that much of a fan of Scream 3. I think that one is the weakest. But I do have actually a full ranking of the Scream movies on my channel. So if you're curious, you guys should check that out. And I've actually reviewed all 5 Scream movies individually. All this is on my channel if you guys want to see more about Scream. I have a lot to say about Scream. Scream's one of those franchises I could talk about all day. So luckily I trimmed it down to about 20 minutes for each video. Michelle says that she agrees about the first Scream. Yeah, that pretty much changed the game when it came out back in the 90s. Because at the time, slashers were kind of dwindling. Like people were kind of tired of Freddy, people were kind of tired of the Jason movies, even Michael Myers to a point. People were kind of sick of it. Excuse me. But if you notice, after Scream came out, that's when like Bride of Chucky came out. Like Child's Play took influence on Scream, and then Halloween H2O came out. Halloween actually took influence from Scream, which kind of came full circle because the original Halloween inspired the first Scream. So that's kind of funny if you think about it. This has been a lot of fun, guys. Thank you very much for your questions. Does anyone have anything else to ask? I haven't really brought up directors. Some of my favorite directors are like Steven Spielberg. I like James Wan. He's a really good one. I like Francis Ford Coppola. Um, who else do I like? Who else do I like? There's so many directors. I like Quentin Tarantino. I like Tim Burton. I like Robert Rodriguez. I can watch any movies directed by those people. Peter Jackson is another good one. He did one of my favorite horror movies before Lord of the Rings came out. He did a movie called The Frighteners, and it's got Michael J. Fox in it, and it's so good. It's amazing. He's like a sidekick that like tries to scam people with his ability. Like he tells people the places are haunted, but he's friends with the ghosts, so he makes money that way. But then there's a ghost that really is causing trouble, so he has to get to the bottom of it. It's kind of like a murder mystery kind of thing. It's amazing. If you haven't seen it, I really recommend The Frighteners. Michelle's asking, what is your favorite I Know What You Did Last Summer? If I had to pick, I would pick the first one out of the three. If the second one's on the island, and it's even the title for that didn't really make sense. It's I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, even though it was like 2 summers ago, or like, you know what I mean? Like the timing is kind of off. And then the third one's like, I Always Know What You Did Last Summer, or something like that. And even that was like further back. Sabrina's asking about Jacob's Ladder. That is one of those just truly like unique, bizarre movies. Like there's truly nothing else like it. If you haven't seen it, I really recommend Jacob's Ladder, but it's not for everyone because it is weird. Talk about weird movies. Like this is probably one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen. So I do recommend that one. Oh, Rick M says, a fantastic live stream. That's actually my brother. Thanks, brother. Do you have any questions for me? Stuff that we haven't already talked about? Oh, here we go. Thank you very much. Do you have a favorite classic horror movie? One of my go-to classic horror movies would have to be Psycho, one of the original slashers. And then there's Peeping Tom. That's also another one of the original slashers. The Peeping Tom and Psycho are one of the first movies to actually show like the POV of the killer. And then a lot of movies picked up on that afterward. You see in Friday the 13th, they did that. In Halloween, they did that. Those two movies were kind of precursors to that. So that's really good. I also like a lot of Hitchcock movies, actually. Like The Birds was really good. I like that one. And then Rear Window, although that might be considered more of like a psychological thriller. It depends on how you look at it. But yeah, those are some of my classic movies that I like. Does anybody else have any questions for me? We kind of dwindled in the viewers, but that's okay. We're going on about an hour now. This is pretty cool. Oh, Rick M says, got it. Thanks, brother. I appreciate your love and support. He actually helped me out with my name. He came up with the name Mr. Flixter because I came up with the name before, but it was already taken. I was going to call myself the Cinematic Fanatic, but I couldn't do that. And then I was kind of stuck. And then we kind of bounced a bunch of different names off each other. And he did different Google searches to make sure that the name wasn't already taken. And he actually came up with Mr. Flixter. So you can thank him for that. Thanks, Rick. We salute you. I would like to take credit for it, but that wasn't all me. That wasn't all me. I helped from my siblings. It just goes to show, like my siblings and I, we have a really close relationship together. And Ricky actually introduced me to a lot of different like action movies and stuff like that. Like we watched Die Hard together growing up. We watched the Terminator movies. Not the best movies for kids, I know, but whatever. It was a different time back then. Let's see. Sabrina's asking about House on Haunted Hill. I enjoy the original more than I did the remake. The remake's okay. It's got some good gore effects. It's got a pretty good cast. It's got Vincent Price in it. So, oh no, sorry, not Vincent Price. Oh, sorry, no. What's his face? The other guy. I'm drawing a blank right now. I'm horrible with names. But yeah, it's got a really good cast in it. But the original is just something about older films, just like the look and the feel. They have like this quaintness to it. Do you know what I mean? Michelle says, I like your name. Thank you, Michelle. I like it too. We were trying to think of something that was kind of catchy because my name's hard to say, right? I don't know if you guys know my last name, but just looking at it alone, it's a head scratcher. So I wanted something that was kind of fun to say, something that kind of rhymed, something that people would want to say again and again and again. So yeah, that's what it was about. It's all about creating that buzz, that pop. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to have a good stage name for myself. So does anybody else have any questions for me? We have 4 people in the chat. This is amazing. This is going way better than I thought it was. Well, than I thought it would, I should say. I really appreciate all your love and support. Like I was saying, I don't really have a plan for tonight. Like I didn't have a topic. I don't have notes or anything to look at. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head here. Oh, we have another question. Michelle says, what's your favorite chick flick? Chick flicks are actually a guilty pleasure for me. Some of the ones I like are like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. There's She's Out of My League with Jay Baruchel and what's his face? The comedian. I can't think of his name right now. He was in a lot of other movies. Anyways, She's Out of My League is really good. There's She's Just Not That Into You. I like the Sex and the City movie. I like the show too, but that first movie, the first Sex and the City movie, not the sequel. The first one is a really good continuation of the show because it picks up kind of like where the show left off and it fills in the blanks like what they've been doing in the meantime. And then it just kind of goes from there and it goes into Carrie's wedding and stuff like that. And I thought it was so good. I thought it was so well done. I also like a lot of the Adam Sandler rom-coms, like Just Go With It. And then, of course, there's 50 First Dates with he's with Drew Barrymore in those ones. And then The Wedding Singer. The Wedding Singer is one of my all-time favorites. I've seen that movie so many times. It's so good. So there's a few. I mentioned You've Got Mail before. I also like Sleepless in Seattle. That's an older one. That one's pretty good too. So there's just a few of the rom-coms that I like. And 10 Things I Hate About You. I almost forgot about that one. That's a really good one too. That's on Disney Plus. That's a really good one with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and it's got Heath Ledger, and it's got Julia Stiles. It's so good. It's like a modern rendition of Taming of the Shrew, if you're not familiar with it. So it's on Disney Plus. I really recommend that one if you guys haven't seen it. So there's a few chick flicks for you. I actually watch a lot of chick flicks with Michelle. Sometimes we'll watch movies together. She introduced me to Talk Everlasting. Excuse me. I hadn't seen that before, but Michelle recommended it to me, and then she asked me to write a review for it, so I did. So thanks, Michelle. I do appreciate your recommendations. We should watch another movie together sometime. It's been a while. Sabrina says she loves that movie too. Yeah, that's a good one. Michelle says, I agree. The first Sex and the City was awesome. Yeah, the sequel seemed like they didn't really have an idea. They were just kind of writing stuff and they were just kind of seeing where the scenes were going. Like they didn't have a point. You know what I mean? Like the first one had a really good point to it. It was about loving yourself as much as you love like your partner and stuff like that. But this one didn't really have a point. It was just more about like going off on vacation and then they go to the desert and then they get treated badly. Like I don't know. I wondered why it even got made. Like sometimes you watch a movie and like halfway through you're like, how could this? Why did they make this movie? Michelle says, what is your favorite Nicholas Sparks movie? Hmm. that's a good one. I wasn't really a fan of The Notebook. Is that movie 5 Feet Apart, Nicholas Sparks? Like, I'm not a big Nicholas Sparks fan. I haven't read his books or anything like that, but his movies are pretty good. I didn't like, except for The Notebook. I really didn't like The Notebook. My sister maybe watched that when I was younger. So, not a fan. So yeah, sorry, I don't really have an answer for that one. Just haven't really been into his stuff. I did like that 5 Feet Apart movie, if that's even Nicholas Sparks. I don't know. I know he did The Long Ride. I didn't see that one. I know he's done a few other ones that I just kind of skipped. Michelle says, I agree, bud. You just tell me when and where, and we'll watch a movie. Oh, sweet. Yeah. Awesome. Sounds good to me. I'm getting a text here. Oh, Sabrina's saying a good movie is The Holiday with Cameron Diaz, Jack Black, Kate Winslet, and Jude Law. Yeah, that is a good one. I forgot about that one. Thank you for the recommendation. That's one of those ones that's one of those ensemble comedies. It doesn't rely just on one person. It relies on the whole cast altogether. And I really appreciate movies like that. Another good one like that, not so much a chick flick, but it's Death at a Funeral with Chris Rock. And it's got a bunch of other people in it. And it is hilarious. Oh, okay. Michelle says 5 Feet Apart is separate. Okay, sorry. Then I don't really have a favorite Nicholas Sparks movie. Sorry, I'm not too big of a fan of his. I don't really watch his movies. I'm not too much into like the dramatic romantic stuff. I like more of the romantic comedies. So that's kind of my answer. It's not really an answer, but it's my answer. Does anybody else have any questions here? We're going on over an hour now. That's amazing. I really didn't think it would last this long. Thank you very much for all your love and support. You could be watching anything right now. You're watching little old me, and I appreciate that. You guys are awesome. I try to share it to as many different like social media platforms as I can, but I'm aware my channel is still pretty small and I'm still growing. I just had to do some kind of a show this week because I had two guests scheduled and they both had to reschedule. So I have two live streams on Sunday now. I have one in the morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then the next one is going to be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So my guest in the morning is going to be Movies and Munchies, and we're going to talk about Johnny Depp films, our favorite Johnny Depp movies, our top five. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for that discussion. Some of my picks might be surprising. Some of them might not be. So you guys will just have to stay tuned for that one. And then at night, I'm going to be talking with Popping the Popcorn. And we're going to talk about our favorite horror comedies. And that's something I've been kind of avoiding for this live stream. I haven't talked about Johnny Depp movies, and I haven't talked about horror comedies because I'm kind of saving those. I need something to talk about for later. So you guys have to stay tuned for that. Does anybody else have any questions for me? This is pretty cool. We're going on almost an hour and 10 minutes now. This has been a great talk, guys. I really appreciate everything. So goes, there's nothing wrong with that. Do you like A Walk to Remember? I don't think I've seen that, so I don't have an opinion on that one. Maybe that could be the next one that we watch. You could pick the movie, though. I really don't care. I'll watch anything once. You don't know if you like a movie till you see it for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you can watch previews, but even previews are kind of misleading. They don't always do justice to the movie. So, in my opinion, you shouldn't judge a movie until you've seen it for yourself. Does anybody else have any questions for me? I love it. Keep it coming, guys. Thank you for all your support, Michelle, especially. I do. I love the kind words, and I love the support from anybody and everybody. Trying to think, what else could I even talk about? I mentioned directors. We mentioned like romantic comedies. We talked about horror, obviously. We didn't really talk about comic book movies. I like Spider-Man. Spider-Man's my favorite. You can see him right there, somewhere there. Aha. If I had to pick a favorite, I think I'd have to go with Tom Holland. I like the new Spider-Man. I think he really captures what Peter Parker's all about. Like, he's got the age down. Michelle agrees. That's pretty awesome. Thank you very much, Michelle. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? I do really appreciate the support. Can't wait to watch that movie with you then. All right, sounds like a plan. Just tell me when, and then we can do it. What was I saying? Spider-Man. Yeah, I like Tom Holland. I like their new movies. I'm just waiting for that solo Spider-Man movie with him because that's my biggest problem with the MCU. It's good that we have Spider-Man movies, but there's still that movie with just Spider-Man by himself, and I'm really looking forward to that. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? We're going over an hour here, so I'd like to wrap things up if we can. It's been a really good night. It's been a great discussion, guys. I appreciate all the love and support. Thank you for all your questions, and I will see you in the next live stream. Have a great night. Well, I'll wait a few minutes first, so I'm just going to cut it off. Anyone have any questions real quick? Final questions? Thoughts, concerns, comments, anything? No? Okay. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.